This is Austin St. John, Jason, the original Red Ranger. You are watching the Morphin Network.
Today's Morphin Network video is sponsored by Ranger Stop and Pop, which is now August the 27th to the 29th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia. And Ranger Stock Convention, which is now November 11th to the 14th, 2021 in Orlando, Florida. Go to rangerstop.com for more info.
Hi guys! Hi! Welcome to the first podcast of 2021. This is the first Ranger Comic Time podcast of 2021. Hi guys, how you doing today? My name is, for anyone that doesn't know, my name is Jen Ping, and today I am going to be reviewing Mighty Morphin issue number 2 and Power Rangers issue number 2. That's right, for anyone that doesn't know, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Comics has been split in half. Mighty Morphin is going to be taking place more of just the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that are in Angel Grove, and the Power Rangers is going to be focusing more on the Omega Rangers, which is Jason, Zach, and Trini as the Omega Rangers. So that's what it's focusing on. But for anyone that doesn't know, the reason why I review them both is because they intertwine and they're related to each other. They're in the same timeline. So you can't just read one and not the other. You'll actually read them. That's one reason why I would recommend reading them both so you can understand the full scope of the story that's going on. So yeah, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to review is Mighty Morphin issue number 2. And I just want to give a special shout out to this beautiful cover work that I really like right here. Look at that. I really like this. So this is Mighty Morphin issue number 2. And I really like the cover art for this one because it has a better, at least for me, it only shows the Green Ranger, but it gives you kind of like an in-depth look on like what might be happening in the story. Because remember the last issue, issue number 1, right, Mighty Morphin number 1, it left you on a really good cliffhanger. So it picks up where it last left off, but it also keeps you thinking more about what's going to happen in issue number 2 of Mighty Morphin. So yeah, I like this artwork a lot. I love the cover art. 10/10, beautiful artwork. And yeah, let's get started. So we're gonna pick up where we last left off. Actually, it doesn't pick us up where it last left off. Mighty Morphin issue number 2. The opening page takes us back to the past about how Zordon is in full body mode. He was recently appointed as a guardian, and his role is to protect Eltar. Remember, he's Zordon's like a blue-headed dude right now living in the command center, but before that he was a guardian. And like I really, really like this because it gives you a backstory that the show didn't give you. So it gives you a really huge backstory of 10,000 years ago, with the Eltar and their species, right? So 10,000 years ago, these floating heads has like an important role. Prince Zolfram, for anyone who doesn't know, that's his name, or Zordon. Prince Zolfram has a role in it to protect their species, right? And I just want to give you an update. This is what Zordon looks 10,000 years ago. Look at that. Look at that. I love that artwork. I know. I really like this look on Zordon. Instead of just him having a big head, I like that Ryan Parrott actually took on his role and gave him a better, like, how do I say it? He made his past story way better than it was in the Mighty Morphin series, because this is really cool. I love this look. It gives me like Beowulf vibes and everything. And yeah, it kind of leaves you off in a cliffhanger too, because like, okay, my bad. Okay, it also leaves you off in a cliffhanger too, because the next page takes you to the command center, right? So now in present day, because it ends off in a cliffhanger where Prince Zolfram, Zordon, takes on his role to protect their species, but even their own species, they're not gods, and so they can't control what they can do in terms of like galaxies above their own. So yeah. So on to the next page, we see that in the command center, we see Billy, the Blue Ranger, fixing Alpha, and we see that Alpha is getting fixed, is doing fine. In the command center, Zordon's really pissed in this one, because remember in the last issue, the Omega Rangers disobeyed his command because the Omega Rangers escaped with Draken by their side, and took Draken the prisoner. so they can, save the galaxies. Because what happened with the Omega Rangers was when they fought Imperial, they couldn't fight him alone. But it seems like the reason why they had to take Draken with them was because Draken's the only one that knows the most about the Imperials compared to anybody, and they're doing whatever they can to save the galaxy, save the world. So yeah. So in the command center, we see Zordon telling the Rangers that he sent a personal PSA in the intergalactic globe to the Rangers that they betrayed his word and escaped with Draken. And so Zordon's really pissed, and he tells the Rangers that once I capture the Omega Rangers, I'm going to take away their power. And yeah, and that's understandable. But at the same time, I don't really understand why Zordon was pissed at how the Omega Rangers disobeyed his order when the Omega Rangers doing what they can to save what's best for the community, for the world and everything. So yeah, the Rangers are also into the next page. The Power Rangers in Angel Grove are, we see they're also getting ready to attend a music festival. And I thought this was cool because on the next page we see Skull fighting a dummy, right? Like punching it. And you can tell something's wrong with Skull in this issue because on the next page we see Skull telling Bulk that his girlfriend Candace. Okay, by the way, his girlfriend Candace with the blue hair looks like an e-girl. I'm just saying. I think Brian Parrott when he created Candace, I think he was really inspired by the TikTok girls called e-girl trend. You should really look it up, but that's another story. But Candace, aka Skull's girlfriend, is like has been pretty off with him lately, and Skull feels like he doesn't want to, like, Candace isn't showing affection as much. Candace doesn't want to meet him much. Candace, also keep in mind, in the last cliffhanger, we find out that Candace is not actually a human. We find out that Candace is actually part of Zordon's blue ray species. So in the ending of the last issue, we see that Candace, said that she's trying to protect Eltar. So we don't know much about what's going on, but we find out that Candace is not a human, and Candace is one of the blue-headed people, just like Zordon's race. So yeah, maybe that's the reason why she had blue streaks. I thought that was really cute. And yeah, so on to the next page, we see that like Bulk is confronting him about it, and being the best friend that he is, Bulk is trying to comfort Skull, saying, "Hey, you got this, man. You can, what? We're gonna prove to Candace that you're worth it." And yeah, I just like this issue because like we see that Bulk is more genuinely cares more about Skull's happiness, if anything. So that's why. So on to the next page, we see Up in the Moon, right? Up in the Moon where the villains are at. What was it? When they Scrap Bamboo and Finster. Oh, and what's his name again? Lord Zed. Lord Zed is finally coming back from the green chaos crystals, by the way. They what's his name? Finster, the putty creator, created this crazy little putty that, like, it's a singular putty, but it's like energized with Zeo green crystal energy. So they are actually preparing it to send to music festival. So back into the next page, we see the Power Rangers are in the music festival, right? And Candace, Skull's girlfriend, is trying to get away from everything. Next thing you know, I thought this scene was cute. So Candace trying to get away from everything, bumps into Rocky, which, by the way, Rocky looks really cute in this comic book issue. I'm not gonna lie, he looks like a better version of Skull. I could understand why Brian Parrott chose that, because like when Candace bumped into Rocky, Rocky was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And the next thing you know, it Bulk and Skull see something, and it looks like Rocky's flirting with Candace, right? So then Skull's like, "Hey, Rocky, why are you hitting up on my girl?" And like Rocky's like, "No, it's not what it looks like. It's not what it looks like." So right when that happens, right when the altercation happens, like, and of course Skull's like jealous and all that. Right when that happened, Cannon sees like one big giant. He's like, "Look over there!" And we see like this one giant big putty at the music festival come in and attack the people, right? So then, right when one big giant putty with the Z energized with the Zeo green chaos crystal comes to the right when it comes in, the White Ranger, for anyone that doesn't know, is Tommy. Tommy's no longer the Green Ranger; he's the White Ranger. Comes in to save the day, but then gets tackled pretty hard by this green putty, right? So then everybody comes in. So then the Power Rangers transforms and whatnot, does all of that stuff, to try to save the day, to fight against the putty, right? They get tangled, but the Power Rangers couldn't handle. Next thing you know, right when they're like ready to get defeated or whatever, the Power Rangers. Next thing you know, a mysterious Green Ranger. We still don't know. Keep in mind, we still don't know who the new Green Ranger is. We found it is confirmed that it is not Lord Draken, because remember, Lord Draken's in a spaceship. taken away by the Omega Rangers. That's another thing. So next thing you know, mysterious Green Ranger comes in. Right, we still don't know who it is. Comes over and saves the day. But this scene was so crazy because the green, putty uses green chaos. The big putty uses his green chaos energy and like wipes him out. Right. I thought it was cool. Next thing you know, the putties they start to multiply, and not only do they multiply, they transform. Like remember, the putties are kind of like Ditto. Think of it like Ditto from Pokemon. They transform and chase it. So the putties multiply and turn into like they transform into like music festival goers. And it like I love this issue because it ends in a really beautiful cliffhanger where the Power Rangers and the Green Rangers, who by the way is unconscious attack, are like ready to get attacked by the putties. And I really like that one. That one was a really good, exciting cliffhanger for Mighty Morphin. I like how that one was. So give chops. For me, that one was a good 8 out of 10. I wish it could have gone a little more when it came to Candace and her reasoning why she wanted to escape the music festival, but that's just me. 8 out of 10. Mighty Morphin 2 is really good. And yeah, so that's what I have to give for whatchamacallit. I will for Mighty Morphin issue number 2. So on to the next one, which is Power Rangers. Power Rangers issue number 2 that we for anyone that wants to know. Power Rangers issue number 2 focuses more on the Omega Rangers. So Power Rangers number 2 is where we pick up where we last left off. So the Omega Rangers, remember, they disobeyed Zordon's orders. They said, "Hey, don't take Draken as prisoner," but then they didn't take no for an answer. Then because of that, they went to inside the command center and got through heavy security and was able to escape with Lord Draken, because remember, Lord Draken is the only one who is the only one that knows the most knowledge against these Imperials. Who, remember, Imperials, who by the way they look like angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion. They turn dead things and put them back to life, like, and put life back to death. So it's like really interesting what they can do. So because of, you remember in the previous issues before this, I think it was called just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 54, 55, around there, no, 54. We see that the Omega Rangers was really terrified. They didn't know how to fight. They really didn't know the hidden potential and that the Imperials have. So they knew that not Zordon, they knew that Draken was the only way to fight against these. Was the only way for them to fight against the Imperials. So I could understand where Jason was coming from on why they disobeyed Zordon's answers. So the scene is left when they are, after they disobeyed Zordon's answers, and now Zordon told the whole space team, the PSA. You remember how in Mighty Morphin issue number 2, he said, "I'm gonna send out a PSA and tell people that the Omega Rangers are criminals and they should be arrested for leaving with the criminals to fight against Imperial." So I thought that was interesting because, Jason, by the way, who's the Red Omega Ranger, who still is like a leader at heart, has his reasoning. And like Jason is fighting with C. C is, by the way, like is like the alpha of the Omega Rangers. So C is like, kind of angry because, you find out that they're like wanted. The Omega Rangers are wanted. They're kind of like criminals. And Jason provided some really good points on and reasons why the Omega Rangers took Draken away. And I could understand. In my opinion, had maybe Zordon given a good reason on why Draken shouldn't have been taken away, um, maybe the Omega Rangers wouldn't have disobeyed his orders. But yeah, I like that. So in the scene, the Omega Rangers are up in space, going to this mysterious place where Lord Draken told them to go to, because that's where Lord Draken knew about the Imperials, right? He knows about what they are and their capabilities and whatnot. So in this next scene, this next page, we see Trini is talking to Draken, right? Draken, I love this scene between Draken and Trini because like Draken is tempting her. We see this beautiful confrontation um where Trini we see that Trini has a heart, because as much as like Trini wants to like shut him up and all of that, Draken isn't completely resistant. Also, the conversation between Trini and Draken is interesting because Trini calls him Draken, but Draken's like is like, "Call me Tommy." So then it got me thinking, the Draken, like the evil person, has a change of heart. We don't know because remember he's gone batshit crazy, right? So it got me thinking, why does Draken want to be called Tommy instead? Remember, like Draken has the whole like shade head, the the thing on his face. So yeah, Next thing you know, like up in space, they're suddenly causing some trouble, right? So up in space where they're at, um, they're causing trouble because you find C tells them that the cells are draining, right? And the engines are unresponsive. So because of that, the Rangers, like the Omega Rangers, are in deep trouble. So then the Omega Rangers kind of blame Draken. It's like Draken set us up for something, but I think for the look of it, I don't think Draken was trying to set them up for something because his life would be also in jeopardy too. So yeah. So they're at a place where, the reason why they're their spaceship is going down is because Drakentum told them to go to. So then Trinity goes inside to the spaceship, right? To like try to jumpstart the engine. But suddenly I love this scene right here. So right when Trinity's trying to go inside the spaceship to try and jumpstart the engine, right? She's suddenly attacked by this unique type of beast. And I really like the way these beasts look. Like they are so cool. They look so darn cool. I don't know how to explain those monsters and the way they are. Like, oh man, so they are. I think we don't really know much about him, but what the beast says when Trini confronts these crazy creatures, right? The beast says he wants to eat her soul and that they're very hungry. So then it got me thinking: are these beasts hungry? Like they're soul eaters? So yeah. Suddenly it gets even more exciting. Like this issue gets even more. To me, Power Rangers issue number 2 is my favorite one. From If I had to choose between Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers to me is a little more exciting because there's a lot more action. It keeps you like going. But yeah, suddenly so on to the next page. So while Trinity's Training is fighting off these crazy beasts. Suddenly, more beasts starts to show up, and the Omega Rangers are in deep trouble because one, the ship is not the cells are going down. The engine's not really moving that well. So Jason starts fighting off while Zach is actually hiding away from the beast, which I think is really smart. And I love the fight scene between them, like how they fight monsters. I love it compared to the way the Power Rangers fight monsters because they're more skilled and tactic. Like the Omega Rangers, I can tell were more skilled and tactic because they were able to fight intergalactic compared to just fighting in Earth. And I like that scene. I love the Omega Rangers. In my opinion, they're more skilled in what they do. So yeah. So in the scene, we see that Trini really can't fight off for too long. So she does this thing that I like. So it was really interesting because she's fighting off like multiple creatures, like these crazy little beasts. She does this scene kind of like similar to like a scene from Alien. So she opens up the spaceship, eject, and she releases them out in space, right, including herself to fight off because she can't just physically fight them off. The only thing she can do is kick them out of the spaceship. So she does that, and we kind of and on to the next page while Trini's fighting off out the creatures outside the spaceship. Onto the next page, we see that Draken is actually getting attacked by the beast, and the beast, who, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, the beast is called the Horde. The Horde says they feed off of souls and life. So in this issue, I love this page, by the way, right when they were about to take away Draken's life, because they were sucking the life out of them. Draken's like, no, I'm on your side. I can give you more life to feed. And of course, Draken being sell out, like, I know what he's gonna do. Because he always, of course, cares about his life more than anyone else. So he's like, right when Draken said, oh, I can give you more life to feed. So right when that happens, the next page ends with Draken's being taken away by the Horde, and then because of that, Horde spared his life, but it ends in a really beautiful cliffhanger because in this issue we see that the Horde just grabs him by the back and just takes him away because they're like, this sounds like a partnership, and I thought that was really interesting because in order for Draken to save his ass, he has to partner up with the Horde because he says, hey, you want more life? I'll give you more life to feed off of. And I just want to give a good overlay of the way the beast looks. Dude, these creatures look so darn cool. Like they are like soul suckers or something. They want to taste. And yeah, it ends in a cliffhanger like that. And to me, Power Rangers issue number 2 gets a 9 out of 10. That one was way more interesting than Mighty Morphin issue number 2. Mighty Morphin issue number 2 didn't really get into detail about why Candace was acting funny. I mean, we know from the previous issue because you remember Candace is part of the same species as Zed, but it doesn't really tell you reasoning on why all of a sudden Candace started behaving that way. So yeah, overall, Power Rangers issue number 2, I would give it 9 out of 10. Mighty Morphin 8 out of 10. So yeah, artwork has always been beautiful and everything. So yeah, hold up, let me read some comments. Noah Cummings says hi. Fox Rangers 3 X time more phenomenal. Yes, it is more phenomenal. And then of course I get another comment that says Power Rangers forever. Yes. Pratmash Master says greetings from India. Happy New Year. Have a process 2021. Thank you. Happy New Year over there. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Ranger Comic Time mostly comes out like once every month. So yeah, be on the lookout. We're still active. We're not just active every weekly like other podcasts, but just know that because of Power Rangers comes out only like once a month, we can only post like once a month. So yeah, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. Foxy Ranger also comments saying, I would love to see a darker version of Power Rangers where they lose the Megazord mentality and it's all about people. I think they did no, they didn't do that one. I mean, you could talk about the Psycho Rangers, maybe? But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea. I like the way this is at, but in my opinion, my recommendation, I didn't think the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger should have been split in half. That's just me. My opinion, I would have thought liked it if Mighty Morphin Power Rangers kept on the series going, and instead of just Power Rangers, because it's only focused on the Omega Rangers, it should have just been called Omega Rangers issue 1, 2, and 3. Like I would have liked that better instead of just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers split in half. That's just me. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I have to say for this comic. Like, let me just drink water. That's all I have to say for this comic. It's beautiful. Ryan Parrott is an amazing writer, and I can't wait for the next issue, for issue number 3, for both issues, for Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. So I can't wait for that to tune in for more. You guys should watch that one. And yeah, thank you guys. And I think that's all I have for today. I know this podcast is not really that long, but it's the most I can go to. And yeah, hold up. I think that's all I have for today. In terms of social media and whatnot, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube and Twitter. It's Morphinet, which is MorPhinnET. And you can find me Jen Pink at Instagram at Jensina. That's Instagram.com/GNMESINA. You can find me at Twitter at JenPink2. So yeah, that's where you can find me in terms of all my social media, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching our podcast. Tune in for all the other podcasts, Ranger Podcast Live, Sentai Hero Special, Common Writer Time Hero Podcast. I forgot how you say it. Yeah, thank you guys so much for all the love and support, and yeah, I can't wait to keep continuing this on and on. And I think that's all for us to say. All I have for what I have to say. My closest comment is please stay safe. May 2021 be prosperous. This Ranger Comic Time is the first 2021 first podcast of 2021. So we're gonna keep continuing this for as much as you like, for the fans, for anyone that wants more input on our review and everything. And yeah, thank you. And I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. And hold up. Trying to set myself up. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you. And see you guys next month. Bye.